This game was played between Ding Liren and Kokesh in the FIDE World Championship 2024. And in this position, Ding Liren
Nice.
plays bishop d6, and now black plays f6. And can you find the finishing move that Ding Liren played? It's the move rook takes g7, and black resigned the game because there's checkmate in
现在
c7.
我有冰淇淋，
Can
我
can
很
you
喜欢
find
冰
it
淇淋。
also? So there's also a checkmate in 2, which I'll cover first. So first, if the king goes to h8, then we have queen takes h6 check, and the bishop will block, and then we have checkmate. And then, so you can't go to king h8, or you can't play any move, but this is the longer sequence. So after rook takes g7, now if the king takes, then we have bishop takes f8. And then we have king takes f8, and now we have the queen with a check. And now queen e8 will block, and now we have a check again. We have queen blocks, and now we have queen takes h6 check. The king will go to e8, and now we bring the king over to h8 and check. Queen f8 blocking, and then we take the queen, and in the next turn we check because the pawn is covering these two squares, and the queen is covering all the escape squares, and that would be checkmate. This game was played in the FIDE World Blitz Championship between Ding Liren and Azamat. And in this position, Ding Liren plays
Nice.
d6, and black responds with knight h5, trying to take the bishop. And can you guess what Ding Liren played in this position? The move is d takes e7. He
现在
sacrifices
我有
the
冰淇淋，
queen,
我很喜欢
and
冰淇淋。
then he takes the rook with check. Now the bishop recaptures, and then he captures the rook with the bishop. The queen takes the pawn on b2. Now we have rook e8, putting pressure on the dark square bishop. Knight g7, attacking the rook, and now the rook goes to b8. Queen c2, capturing another pawn. We have bishop h6, just putting more pressure on the king's side. Queen takes c7. Now we have rook d8, which puts pressure on the f8 bishop. And now queen c5, just defending the bishop. Now we have knight e5, and black cannot take this knight because it would be checkmate. So what black did instead is just play queen e7. And now Ding Liren plays knight d7, and the game is over. This game was played between Magnus Carlsen and Ding Liren in the Sinquefield 2019 Cup. And in this position, Ding Liren takes the knight on c6. Magnus Carlsen takes the rook, and now we have a discovery from Ding Liren when he captures the pawn on d5. Magnus Carlsen moves the queen, and now Ding Liren captures another pawn. And now in this position, Magnus Carlsen plays g5, trying to kick out the knight so that the bishop will hang here. Can you guess what Ding Liren played in this position?
现在
He
我有
retreated
冰淇
the
淋，
bishop all the
我
way to
很喜欢冰
a8,
淇淋。
threatening a battery with the queen to checkmate on g2. And so in this position, Magnus Carlsen took the a6 pawn, and now we have knight d5, bishop a7 tickling the queen, queen c7, rook e to c1, and now Ding Liren here takes the two rooks for the queen and checks. King h2, we have bishop c6, the queen takes the ace3 pawn with an attack on the rook. We have bishop takes g5, which also protects the rook. And now queen takes d6. Magnus Carlsen takes a pawn. And after bishop f4, Magnus Carlsen threatens checkmate on f8. And here in this position, can you find what Ding Liren played in 2 seconds with a minute and a half left on the clock? It's the move knight to e7.
Nice.
And this move threatens checkmate with the bishop and the rook, and the knight can't guard because it's pinned by the bishop. This game was played between Bai Junxi and Ding Liren in the Chinese Chess League in 2017. And in this position, Ding Liren played e5, and white decided to take the e5 pawn. And can you guess what Ding Liren played in this position? It's the brilliant move.
现在
Pawn
我
takes the
有
knight.
冰淇淋，
And
我
now
很
he
喜欢冰淇
sacrifices
淋。
his queen to get the check. The bishop is checking the king. And now we have king e2, and rook takes on d8. We have queen takes b2, and we have knight a4, attacking the queen. Queen c2. We have knight c3, check. and king f7. And now we have this rook d4, another great sacrifice. If the white takes, then we have a fork. So white cannot take the rook, and so we have h3 instead. We have h5 and bishop h2 to make space on the g3 square. And now we have g4 check. The king moves to g3, and now we have rook d2. And you can't capture this d2 rook because you'll get forked. And so the queen went to b3 in the game. We have knight e4 check, king h4, bishop e7 check. King takes h5, and now we have king g7. We have bishop f4, bishop f5, bishop h6 check, king h7, queen takes b7, rook takes f2, bishop g5, rook h8, and now knight takes f7, bishop g6 check, and now king takes g4. And now the finishing move of the game, knight e5 check. And in this position, can you find checkmate in 3? Ding Liren is playing against Ernesto in the 2015 World Cup in this position, and Black just plays knight e7. And can you guess what Ding Liren played in this position? It's the brilliant move, bishop
现在我有
c2.
冰淇淋，我
And
很
the
喜欢
idea
冰淇
is,
淋
in the game, Black took with the queen, and now we have knight d3. And now if you see, the h7 pawn is not guarded by the queen anymore. And this forces Black to move the king. And so the king goes to g8. And now we have queen takes h7 check. We have king f7. We have knight e5 check, which opens up the queen. And now Ding Liren can win a free queen. And now we have on king e6. Now we have queen takes c2. F takes e5. So Black captures the knight. And now we have rook h6 check. King d7. And now we have rook takes f8. And then Black recaptures back. D takes e5, and now we have knight e6, trying to block. Rook f6, we have rook e8, and now after queen h7, Black resigned the game.